Obviously, we're moving up in notoriety this week because we're playing a Pac-12 team. Opportunity for us to see where we stand as far as where we are in that kind of competition level. I'm sure our players are looking forward to it, and the heat's not supposed to be too bad. It's supposed to be the coolest day in the last 2 or 3 weeks, which is, I don't know what that is, 98 or something. But we played in a hot game last week, so we should be fine.
Ideally, you don't want to get sacked at all. But given that your offensive line will be learning some lessons this year, was getting sacked twice against Davis beneficial in terms of getting that problem fixed before you play the Pac-12 teams?
Well, I think you're going to get a different scheme on defense than we played last week. So you still have the same problem in the offensive line. They've got to recognize the defense and where the pressure is coming from. And now we got beat one-on-one. I don't know if that's fixed or not. I assume we'll get beat one-on-one sometimes throughout the rest of the season, too.
What do you think the biggest jump needs to be between last week and this week?
I think the speed of the game. I think that we're playing a much more talented, bigger, stronger, faster football team with a lot better athletes. So the game's going to be a lot faster than it was last week. So we have to be up to that kind of speed. I think we've got the talent level to jump to it, but they better not think it's going to be like last week.
And Christian Chapman was 16 for 21, which, I mean, he's normally 67% completion rate. Were you happy with, obviously it was a balanced offense too, but were you happy with both the passing and the rushing game?
I thought Christian threw the ball well. I thought he put it pretty close to on the money all the time. Now the receivers did add to a couple of those completions by making good catches. I mean, they weren't easy ones. A couple times receivers changed in the air and all that and caught the ball, but I thought he played pretty well. I thought Christian threw the ball well.
You have a pretty strong depth of the tight end position. Is that kind of your secret coming into the year?
I don't know if it is a secret, but it's one of the stronger positions on our team. I think Kahale Waring surprised a lot of us on how well he played last week. But David Wells didn't play, and he's probably our best tight end. But Parker Houston played a lot last year too, so we knew we had a good tight end right there. But I think Kahale surprised us on how well he played.
Rocky, can you talk about what Graham is running offensively and where it puts the stress on your defense?
Well, they're a spread football team. They've got great skill at wide receiver. They got great skill at running back, and they have an outstanding quarterback. So they put pressure on you wherever you want them to put pressure on you. They totally account system. If you have enough guys close to the box to stop the run, they're going to throw it. If you have too many guys in coverage, they're going to run it. And then if they can't really tell whether you have enough guys in close enough for the running game and all that, now you have your what they call RPOs in the coaching world, run pass options. So the quarterback fakes a run. If a guy closes on the run, they throw it out to the wide receivers. If he doesn't close on the run, he hands it to the running back. On the chalkboard, or I guess it's a grease board now, on the grease board, you can't stop it.
Obviously a solid running game for you this last weekend. What do you think of Rashad and Juwan and sort of that new dynamic as it relates to the new offensive lineman?
I think we've got similar than we have in the last few years. I mean, I don't think they're the same styles, but we got our little small, quick, make-you-miss guy as the second stringer this year instead of the big, strong, fast guy that's the starter this year. I thought Rashad had a great first game. I thought early in the game it looked like he was a little rusty, but as he says, he hadn't been hit since last December, and that obviously was on purpose. I thought he got into the game later on. I thought the offensive line blocked really well for the run, so it got him going. And I think Juwan's a good changeup.
Your secondary or your defense always seems to get interceptions. How do you guys do that? Because you're leading the FBS since 2015. So how do you guys just keep figuring out how to get the pick?
I guess they're in the right place. You know, the turnovers are an amazing thing, and we've been lucky to get a lot of turnovers the last couple, 3 years. And then sometimes that will dry up on you. The other day, it was a scheme deal where one of the players made a good play by knocking the ball up in the air, and we caught that one, and the other one was a bad throw by the quarterback. So if we can get the quarterback to make some more bad throws, we'll get more interceptions.
What's your philosophy on when to bring a team into a place, like especially going to Arizona, where until we had hot weather here last week, it's a much hotter place? Do you want them earlier to get acclimated, or later to just tighten the time frame?
You don't have that opportunity, and I think the best thing about college football is you don't miss any class. So we try to leave as late as we can so that they don't ever miss a class on a road game. If we're playing at night, it doesn't matter what the heat is or anything. If we're playing at night, we leave a lot later. We don't need to be in the other town for very long because all we're going to do is play a football game. So since we're playing so late at night, we'll stay here and feed them here and everything and not get on a bus to head to the airport till about 4 or 5 o'clock Friday afternoon. Everybody knows it's going to be hot. It doesn't do you any good to be in it for 2 days. Same with when you have altitude. People talk about going there early enough to get used to the altitude. That takes about a week. It doesn't take 48 hours.
Besides that final quarter, did you feel like the defense communicated well, was physical enough?
I thought the defense played well for 3 quarters until we substituted some guys. I think that we had the best athletes out there, though, as compared to who we were playing, so you ought to play well. I think the athletes are very comparable this week. In fact, you might even give the benefit that Arizona State has more athletes than we do.
They have a big chunky yardage team offensively. I mean, do they go down the field a lot?
Most spread teams, and they're like most spread teams, they do not have long drives. You know, we like a drive. You saw the drive we had with the 99-yarder, you know, 10, 15 plays and put it in the end zone. Those are really nice drives because they take a lot of time off the clock. Spread teams are going to score quickly, or they're going to give you the ball back quickly. One way or the other. They're going to punt it, or they're going to turn it over, or they're going to score in 4 or 5 plays because they get big chunks. And that's all. I mean, I don't know who the first person was that designed a spread offense, but it's really smart. What they're getting is really good athletes in open spaces, and all the tackles are one-on-one tackles with a lot of room to make you miss. Almost all the throws down the field are one-on-one. There's one defender and one receiver, and the ball's up in the air, and if the defender gets too aggressive, it's interference. The receiver usually sees the ball better than the defensive back does. I mean, that's the way it's going. I mean, I saw those scores from last week. All those spread teams scored a whole bunch of points. They didn't all win, but they all scored a bunch of points.
You had a lot of success last year with Davis Webb and Cal. When you reflect back, is that making him hold the football, getting him 3 and outs and things like that?
Well, I like that you said that, because we've watched that film twice because we think it's similar offenses. Statistically, we did not do very well against David Webb. We didn't do very well. He threw 79 passes for over 400 yards. You know, now we kept him out of the end zone just enough to win the game. And hopefully we can keep him out of the end zone this week just enough to win the game. Now, I think the score is 45-42. Tell me the score Cal game last year. 45-42? Yeah, that's not real good defense on either side. Neither side played very good defense.
So watching that twice, what did you learn from that might help you this time?
Well, I'm not going to give you the secret, but I mean, we were trying to figure out on whether those guys, because we think they're very similar, whether with athletes and the scheme are very similar. We're trying to determine if they completed more passes against zone coverage or more passes against man coverage. Okay? That's what we were trying to decide.
Given the Manny Wilkins style?
I don't know how to compare him. You know, he is very accurate with the football. He's got a strong arm. One of his touchdown passes was 60 yards in the air. Now, it was actually a 65-yard touchdown pass, but the ball was in the air for 60 yards last week. So he's obviously got a strong arm. He's pretty quick and he can run with it, but he's been taught to go down when there's a defender getting ready to tackle him. So he doesn't, struggle for extra yards when he scrambles, but he can get out of trouble and he can get yards with his feet. He's a very good quarterback.
I think I know your opinion on freshmen and where they stand in relation to this game, but through the years, has it been your experience that kids are coming out of high school now more ready to play than before?
I don't think they're as ready to play as
really?
they used to be. No. And some of it is the offenses that they're coming into college to defense. I mean, the spread offense, in my opinion, is much harder to defend. They've always been the best athlete on the field, so they didn't struggle in open areas like they struggle now against athletes just as good as them. I think we're much more complicated on defense than they are in high school, and much more complicated on offense than they were in high school. So they have the problem of they're playing against athletes like them, and they're having to learn more. So I don't think they're as well prepared. I think more of them are playing because of recruiting. Now let me try to explain that. Recruiting is so easy now as far as knowing who can play and who can't play because of all the benefits of technology. I mean, we can tell in 5 or 10 minutes, we can tell if the kid can play or not. All we have to do is get on our computer and get his highlight tape, and we can tell if he can play or not. But as far as getting a kid to come here when you have juniors and seniors playing is almost impossible because every freshman thinks that they're good enough to play when they're a freshman. So they look for a spot that they can come in and play as a freshman. So if you have a really good junior-senior football team, you're not going to recruit many guys that are ready to play. But if you have a bunch of seniors, like we did last year, guess what? We've got a really good freshman class. Okay? We got them because they think they're going to play. Okay? And we had to play a bunch of them. Last Saturday night, we had to play a bunch of them. And if you ask them, they're really ready to play. I mean, they're ready to be All-Americans and everything else. But in reality, they're not. So it's a battle because you can't get those kind of guys when you have juniors and seniors playing for you. So it's a roller coaster in college football.
Rocky, do the young players make a big jump between week 1 and week 2 now that they've had live fire action and they know what it's going to be like?
I've heard that said before, so I certainly hope that's true.
Do you think?
I think since they're similar offenses that we played against the first week and the second week, I think there's a chance they'll be much better, yes. If the offenses were different, I would say no. But the offenses are similar.
I asked you last week about San Diego State's punter. Now that he's actually participated in a true game, what are your comments?
I thought he was pretty good. I thought he was okay. He's actually been, since the week of the game, I think I said this last week, he was much better in practice, and he was much better in practice again yesterday. So I think he will ought to improve as the season goes along. I think we'll get a better average from him than we did. I think we'll get more hang time from him than we did. So I think he'll get better as we go. He's better in practice than he was.
What do you think flipped the switch for?
I don't know. Last week I thought it was game week, right? So maybe he's a season guy. Since he's a game week guy, maybe he's a season guy. He doesn't believe in that training camp stuff. There's a lot of players don't believe in that training camp stuff. Just ask the NFL guys.